The monologue is a powerful beast. Wherever it appears in the script, the intriguing opening, in the middle as a turning point, or at the end as a denouement or summing up of the journey of the play, a good monologue captures the attention. It is a spelling out of all the character is feeling, and it has the emotional expressiveness of a punch.
A monologue has the actor alone, physically or metaphorically, in the spotlight, and directing the speech towards the audience, to an offstage character, a departed character, or if an interior monologue, simply to themselves. The monologue is a stalwart of the actor's audition process, and it needs to demonstrate the range of what the actor can do. Brutal, charming, poetic, or reflective, or all of the above in turns. A good monologue is an opportunity for the actor to strut their stuff, to seduce their audience with a direct address.
The First Nations authored plays from which these monologues have been selected, be they comedies, dramas, or biographical plays, have played in our leading theatres and have been hits with critics and audiences alike. But more importantly, they have contributed to a body of work where the First Nations voice and lived experience has been privileged in the act of decolonisation. Peterson declares that the First Nations dramatic monologues are a vehicle for playwrights to literally write themselves into the land with great cultural specificity.
So many of these First Nations monologues deal with the big topics in life. For example, death, the aftermath and grief of it, Barbara and the Camp Dogs, investigating deaths in custody, Into the Bigness, the eulogy as a celebration of life, Titters. The love of country is another strong theme, evident in the monologues from The Visitors and Sunshine Supergirl.
Some of these monologues have a lighter touch and display the black humour black plays are renowned for, including the stalwart of the playwriting genre, The Dysfunctional Family, Cursed, but even the so-called functional family, Black is the New White, allows for humour and self-deprecation. Warning, some of these plays deal with heavy subjects, so please ready yourselves. The playwrights are Kobe Bedford, Richard Franklin, Jane Harrison, Anita Heiss, Andrea James, and Catherine Ryan. Nakia Louie, Marianne Sam, Dylan Vandenberg, Ursula Jovic, and Alana Valentine. The monologues. Enjoy. Play, Cursed, by Kobe Bedford. Everything is a little complicated and a little crazy in Bernadette's family, but it makes for great comic material. Because if you didn't laugh, with a lashing of religious guilt, siblings coming out, and a white nan on her deathbed, Cursed takes on themes of intergenerational mental illness. What do you inherit from your family, and what can you do to avoid inheriting? With the right interventions and intentions. In this scene, Bernadette provides a glimpse into her complex family dynamic.
I know what you'll say. Blame my childhood. Isn't that what they say? That the prime time for fast-tracking fuck-ups. That it's a time for fast-tracking fuck-ups. But I can tell you right now, it wasn't my childhood. I mean, sure, my earliest memories are visiting my mother in a mental institution, but I can say with confidence that my childhood was completely normal, apart from the mental institution bit. There are many adult reasons why a person can be depressed. Mortgage stress, for example. I mean, I don't have a mortgage, but if I had one, particularly here in Sydney, I would be very depressed. And I don't have any prospects of buying a house because both my parents live in public housing and I have no equity to borrow off. It's a relief, really. So I guess my point is that I'm not depressed about mortgages, and I really don't know why I had a breakdown at Louise's Hawaiian-themed 30th birthday in Surrey Hills. It just came upon me. We could be talking about anything. All the pressures of modern-day life, climate change, politics, Catholics. I'm not a Catholic, but I was raised as a Catholic and went to a Catholic school. I wasn't molested or anything. Sorry, when you say to people you went to Catholic school, you immediately have to assure them that you weren't touched. And if you were, that's a conversation stopper. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, there is something wrong with that. Shit, I'm sorry. Is that what we need to talk about in these sessions? Catholics? The non-touched variety of Catholics? Why Catholics? Well, Nan, who raised us, was as devout as they came. I'm talking rosary every night with my brother and sister, praying for people, alcoholics, heathens, racists, great Auntie Mildred, who ticks all three boxes. But come to think of it, I don't think being a Catholic made me depressed. And it wasn't my childhood. Nan gave us a loving, sane, safe, somewhat Catholic, non-touched childhood. Good country living. Where did I grow up? Oh, not here. Geraldton, in the Midwest of Western Australia. Yeah, no one has heard of it, but it is famous for the Batavia massacre, rape and pillaging. Yeah, I miss it. Oh, not the massacre or the rape or the pillaging. I miss the place. And maybe a little more conservative, but it's simple. People over here in the East complicate shit. Even racism is complicated. You have institutional racism, lateral violence. Sometimes I just miss the WA simplicity of being called a black cunt. Simplicity is good for me. And life here hasn't been simple.
In this scene, Bernadette's mad mother Dawn sends out prayers to those who are important to her, while giving thanks for a meal of apricot chicken.
Dear Lord and Nan, thank you for this meal of apricot chicken, kindly given to us by Carol from number 10. I pray for the poor kids, especially the ones addicted to ice. I pray for Sebastian, for gracing the stages of Paris with his opera singing. I pray for Marie and my grandchildren. May they be doctors or mechanics one day. I pray for Aunt Mildred, who is in deep mourning for her sister and Uncle Vern for his back. I pray for Izzy, who has been run out of town, the greatest son-in-law I'll never have. And Lord, I pray for my daughter, Bernadette, who has abandoned us in our time of need. Oh, Nan, you ought to know that she is a mole. Amen. Shall we eat? Playwright Richard Franklin, play Walking into the Bigness. This autobiographical play touches on moments in the incredible life of Richard Franklin, from his relationship with his mother, his time in the army on fishing boats, and his role investigating Aboriginal deaths in custody. In this scene, a teenage Richard has left Broome with his mother and they are hitching their way across the country.
We're about 3,000 k's in, me and Mum. Yeah, I'd gone back home. Now I'm outside of a town on the Nullarbor somewhere. Hungry, walking. Been up to Broome for my sister's wedding. Hitchhiked to Perth. Slept under a tree at the Kalgoorlie turnoff. We'd lost our house in Portland, but most of my family's in Canberra, so we're heading there. Things hadn't turned out so well, so we'd left Broome with no money. Not a Zach, not a brass razoo. I'm the man. I'm 15. It's 1979. So we walk and walk and walk. Here the land seems to go on forever. And I've lost everything. Got nothing. Can't even get a feed. No money, no blankets. And I'm not sure why, but I have this massive canvas bag full of my songs, poems, stories. And so I just walk into the bigness. Mum's watching, and I pull it all out and I throw it as hard as I can. From nowhere, a willy-willy comes and picks it all up mid-flight and grabs it all and whizzes around. Mum yells, "No!" and runs into the willy-willy. Her hair flinging about, whipped up, down, to the side. She's yelling and snatching it all back from the wind. It was like she was challenging nature itself. She snatches the stuff, the songs, the poems, and the rest. I'm breathless, watching. The willy-willy passes off into the distance, a whirl of dust fearlessly in its journey. Mum stands there, tears falling, hair everywhere, handfuls of my writing. Without a word, I take them from her and stuff them back in my bag. Don't know what else to do with them. Decide that I got to keep writing though. Got to get out of here first and find myself a job.
In this next scene, the adult Richard is applying for a role with the Aboriginal Legal Service, investigating deaths in custody, and he points out the challenges of this role.
It's the mid-80s. Crocodile Dundee too. You know, the one with Ernie Dingo as a blackfella. And I won't take the dole. No way. Chaos juggling work, feeding the family, people coming and going. Get a job interview. So I go down to the dole office and say, "Can I borrow some money?" "I don't want a dole check. I just want some money for petrol. I'll pay it back." Get the money and get the job. Aboriginal Legal Service. You have to pay a third of your own petrol and a third of your own phone bill. And you're on call 24/7 for the whole state, but they pay you $200 and some a week. An investigator field officer get appointed to Royal Commission into Aboriginal Deaths in Custody, 1988. Tall ships, bicentenary, fireworks, and it's probably the worst job I've ever had in my life. For a long time, I was the only Indigenous employee for some 2.5 states. The first wage they offered me was $18,000 per annum. The second was $28,000 per annum. I received no training. My role is to locate witnesses, take statements from both black and white people, and to talk to other interested parties of the Commission's proceedings. And sometimes you wear a suit, because it's a voice game now. And who's got the most power? And they're all scared. Cops and screws of a Royal Commission. So you walk down a hallway, and there's 3 or 4 governors. There's all these guards all around you, and you stop. And you adjust your suit, and you start walking again. You show them you've got the power. And you get into that room with that woman, and you throw them all out. And you're holding her in your arms. She's crying. There's 50 stitches in her throat and another 50 or so in each arm. And all the time you've got no power to get her out. And a clear fluid from her body leaks down onto your suit. And you drive home and you have to shower with your suit on because the fluid has stuck the suit to your body. 99 deaths investigated, 60 in police custody. I work on a huge mob of them, 7 in detail. 3 were elders, 1 had a young family, 3 were stolen generation. 1 was an adolescent. 1 they beat so hard his heart was lying on his spine.
Playwright Jane Harrison. The play The Visitors. This play tells of the arrival of the First Fleet in 1788, but entirely from the perspective of 7 elders on the shore of Warrane, who must decide whether to send the strangers on the 11 tall ships away or allow them to land. In this scene, at the end of the play, Gordon, on whose country the First Fleet are poised to land, must overcome his hatred of the strangers and his fear of what they represent. He decides he must finish what his own father began 18 years before, which is to deliver a welcome to country.
This is my country, my father's country. I know its patterns, its seasons, its soils, the texture of them, the colours, the particular shade of green of grass the paddy-garang nibbles after a fire is swept through at dusk, when the paddy-garang is most hungry and most likely to be speared. I know its secret springs, where a thirst can be quenched even in the driest season. I know my country's smells, the exact scent of leaf litter where bulbs of the chocolate lily hide under the moss, though it is not my job to collect them, and where the hardest flint is to be found, for tools, for trading. Its rivers are my blood, its rocky outcrops my bones, its wind is my breath as my lungs fill and empty. It is me. When I welcome others, I honour my country. We ask this and this only. Will you walk on this country that you care for the land and that you look after the children of this land? This is my country and my son's country. In honour of my father, I welcome you to country. Play, Titters, by Anita Heiss. Titters tells the story of 5 women and their enduring friendship from their time growing up in Mudgee to their present lives in Brisbane. They meet regularly to discuss black literature at their book clubs. Each of the women is dealing with their own issues, trying to get pregnant, becoming unexpectedly pregnant, dating, battling an alcohol dependency, battling loneliness after a divorce, but they have each other's backs, mostly. In this scene, Ellen, the black celebrant, delivers a eulogy for her aunt back in Mudgee.
Auntie Molly and Uncle Ron were married for almost 50 years. Oh, she was the love of his life. And he tells me that a cup of tea on the veranda and morning walks along the Currajagong River at Lawson Park is all they needed. Quiet times together were more important than anything than the trips to the big city. They had all the romance they needed right here in Mudgee with each other. From the day Aunt put that wedding ring on his hand, Uncle has never taken it off. They'll have to pry it from my cold, dead hands, is what he used to say. But Auntie Molly didn't like his jokes, Uncle quoting Charlton Heston, even as a joke. Still, she always laughed at his jokes. That unconditional love kind of laugh you give because the person in front of you fills your heart completely. Auntie Molly was sunshine and rainbows and the sound of singing nightingales rolled into one. And she was Uncle Ron's Koori Rose.
Play, Sunshine Supergirl, by Andrea James. This uplifting and exhilarating play tells the story of champion tennis player Yvonne Goolagong-Crawley's development as a player from a small kid hitting a found ball up against the shed to the courts of the biggest, most prestigious competitions in the world. In this scene, Yvonne has slipped back into her country hometown and has found a quiet place to fish and reminisce.
This is a good spot here. This is Mum's spot. That current there, swelling around and around, well, that's the backwater. Leaves and twigs and bugs. That's what the fish are after. And that's what I'm after. The fish. My dad told me about the magic of fishing at the backwater. He used to say, "See that big hole down there? Plenty of fish, big ones. That's where you go to catch a fish." But to tell you the truth, if I don't catch a fish, that's okay too. No one knows I'm here, not even family. I'm not ready to go back into town, just yet. Yesterday I fished around the corner, a bit closer to the bend, and I caught 3 fish, yellow belly and cod. 1 pan size, 1 baking dish size, and 1 family size. Caught them on some worms. Took me 2 hours. Still got that fishy smell. It's starting to sink in. Hey, look out! I missed him. Freshwater woman, through and through. When I throw in a line and I'm waiting for a bite, it's like I'm on the court, in the zone. You're hearing changes, like you're underwater. Your muscles shift and tighten, ready for anything. Your vision is sharp, every twitch, every flutter. And when everything aligns, that ball moves in slow motion and it comes up to meet you, like an old friend. And when you hit that sweet spot, it's like pure heaven. The ball flies like a bird. You watch your opponent scramble, and before she hits the ball, wham! You're there. You know where to be. But why did I win when so many others have lost? What did it cost? Why me? This play is Black is the New White by Nakia Louie. Charlotte is a black lawyer, the shining hope of her family. But she's in love with Francis, a white experimental composer who's also the son of her father's political enemy. How do you resolve love and Christmas when your family has other ideas? In this scene, the narrator provides insight into Charlotte's unusually close relationship to her mother, Joan.
Charlotte knows that Joan smokes. She pretends to have quit, but has smoked biannually ever since Charlotte can remember. But who is Charlotte to judge her mother's flaws? Charlotte can count the amount of things she has done wrong in her life on one hand, each time Joan has been there, never telling Ray. One being the time she took ecstasy, forgot how to speak English and watched the movie Clueless on repeat for 6 hours straight. 2, the time she shoplifted a pair of socks when she was 9. And then there was the time when she gave her first blowjob and accidentally bit the young man's penis. Charlotte called her mother, who had to come and tend to them both. This situation is different. Charlotte isn't in trouble, but she's in a crisis. Jo knows something is going on with Charlotte, but doesn't know what. She thinks about this as she erases the traces of her cigarette.
So good. Oh, that was it. How's everyone feeling tonight? Just dropped my script. This is such a privilege to be reading, a plethora of amazing black writers. Can we just give a round of applause? We are up to date, good? Okay. Just give me a moment, I just dropped my paper. Okay. Cool.
Play, Dogged, by Andrea James and Catherine Ryan. This clever play uses the dingo, whose mate was shot and whose puppies have disappeared, as a metaphor for the effects of the colonisation. In this scene, Dingo talks to Dog, who has begun to hang around with Dingo about being hunted down.
It's no bloody holiday here, mate. This place is dangerous. Well, the other day I was looking for a feed with my pack, Mum, Dad and the kids. Beyond the piss marks, comfort zone gone. But we were starving, looking for food. Anything will do. And I'm tracking a lizard under the stones. My mate has got his eye on this skinny-looking rabbit, and the little ones are pouncing on grasshoppers. Yum, yum, yum. And then it starts. Bang! They've got us in their sights. Upwind. I didn't smell a fucking thing! Bang! Mate for life goes down. No! And I yell to the little ones, run! Bang! And we run through the long grass, in between the rocks. Bang! Sparks fly, and I yell to the little ones, run! Around the trees and up the cliff there. Run! My paws grab the rocks and I'm climbing, cliff hanging, up and up and up and up. Bang! I pull myself up and over and look down. Pause. My mate lying there. Blood pouring out of his ears and mouth. No little ones. Nothing. Just a smattering of blood on the sunlit rock. A scuff. Have you seen my little ones? Play Casting Doubts by Marianne Sam. Yeah. Woo! Yeah! Marianne said woo!
Shout out.
Shout out. Casting Doubts takes us into the world of the casting agency and deals with issues of racism within the industry and how it manifests, including a desire for authenticity and the fraught idea of the perfect black actor. Well, in this scene, Jimmy riffs on the lack of opportunity he faces as a black actor, despite his training and experience.
And who's behind door number 3? It's Jimmy Jackson. Jimmy's a professional actor, studied 3 years at the Performing Arts Academy. You may have seen some of his work as long as you didn't blink. You could say he's pretty particular about the roles he takes. Jimmy is a consultant to the Black Tracker fraternity, and linguists have marvelled at his grasp of language. Yes, boss. No, boss. 3 bags full, boss. Come on out and tell us a little bit more about yourself, Jimmy. Bloody doors. Opening, closing, slamming, shutting, creaking. Doors. Knocked on a few in my time. Actually got in the front door. For a few seconds. Only to find it was a revolving door. Sorry, no time. Sorry, no thank you. Not interested, not today. Don't come peddling your wares. Hawkers beware. Jehovah is your witness. Witness? What will we witness behind closed doors? Today we have black men. Black men who will sing and dance if you throw coins at their feet. Black men who will don a mask other than their own to atone for whose sins? Comfortable chairs, relaxed and comfortable atmosphere, comforting glances. Just be comfortable in your own skin. Cold comfort when you've got to uphold their lies and furnish their comfort zones. I'm one such black man who has sung and danced for 30 pieces of silver, but no more. Because once I get my foot in the door, fucking watch out.
Play Milk, playwright Dylan Vandenberg. This play takes us back to the dawn of colonisation, to a woman who bore the brunt of that oppression, and forwards to her granddaughter, who suppressed the truth in order to survive. In the mix is a young Palawa man exploring his identity. Metaphysical and achingly sad, Milk asks questions regarding the passage of time and connection to country. In this scene, C is speaking to a young girl about the past and about the need for stories.
You got a story for me? No? You're not ready? That's okay. We've got lots of stories. We've got stuff to tell. I went up to Darwin for work once and ended up talking to a woman, an elder. I told her that our mob have lost so much. She was silent for a long time. Then she told me that we can find them all again. Our stories, our dreaming. We just need to go out and dance it all back. Yep, dance. And that's what I did. I danced. I went to the beach. I stomped through the water and spun around and around the sand. And a story leapt into my head. For real. It's about a bird. The bird lived in a tree, and each day he would sing a beautiful song, and everyone would come to listen. The worms, the Tasmanian tigers, the cockatoos, even the bugs would dance. Under the tree there was the Tasmanian devil, who lived in a cosy burrow. She was young, and it was her first winter. She had to leave home and search for food on her own. "But how will I find my way home?" she asked. The bird took pity on the little devil and said to her, "No matter where you end up, listen out for my song and follow it back home." With that, the little devil headed off. She was far, far from home, her belly full when she decided it was time to turn back. She closed her eyes and opened her ears and heard the bird's song, following it for 6 days. But soon, the bird, weary from singing, lost his voice. His song dried up in his throat. The devil stopped in her tracks. "How will I get home?" Bravely, she started to walk, but she was going in circles. The image of home she had locked up in her brain started to fade. And then a huge storm came, with rain and thunder and wind like she had never seen before. And on the wind, if she listened closely, she could hear the bird's song. Soft, far away, but there. She started to follow the sound. Each time the wind blew, it carried the bird's song, and the little devil crept closer and closer to home until she... Tired now? It's all out there. Even the stuff we think is gone. We just have to listen. We just have to dance. Play Barbara and the Camp Dogs by Ursula Jovic and Alana Valentine. Wild and unpredictable, Barbara and her sister Renee front a pub band and rock out everything from mournful ballads to rock to punk-inspired tunes. But their mother is dying. Back home, and they need to return to country and face their demons before it's too late. In this scene, Barbara, in the aftermath of her mother's passing, seeks out her long-lost brother Joseph.
I get in the bike and I drive. Dust flying at me, get in my eyes and nose and ears. It's a straight line from Catherine to Bullman, one road in and one road out. I'm speeding down this dirt road, and I feel the tyres lift every time I hit a patch of soft dirt. I can't slow down. I can't, because it doesn't matter and I don't care. My feet stay firm on the accelerator. The sun is in my eyes, and I remember Mum sitting on the bed with the halo of light around her. I can't see now because the tears won't stop. I pull over and I made it to Flying Fox Creek. The creek is shallow and clear. I can see the white sand and the flecks of gold and brown pebbles. The massive paperbark trees stand guard, lining the banks, giving shade. And I remember him, Joseph, my little brother. And I see him, his crooked teeth showing through his big smile. And Renee is there too, and me. And I'm making this makeshift canoe out of paperbark and sticks, and they're arguing over who gets to ride it down the river first. I remember this day. I say, "I'll make it bigger so you can both go on it first. Just stop fighting." They jump on me, hugging me. Now they're arguing again. "She's my sister." "No, she's my sister." I've been telling myself that it was going to be really hard to find him. And where would I start to look? But I go out there and it's easy. I ask these snotty-nosed kids at the tuck shop. They know who he is. They point to where he's living. Too easy. Shamefully easy. I've told myself that he's so far away, and it turns out that he was just there, and all it took was me to make the move. And that's when I realised I've fucked up with Mum, you know? Because even though she's gone, she's still teaching me. She's still showing me that the way you live is to put your arm out, not wait for the other person to always put theirs out first. You offer the love, and that's how you get it back. And now she's gone, and I'm too late. I'm too late. And that's me, you know, that's me. Always work it out when everyone around me has just had a fuck enough of trying to reach me and coming up with a handful of nothing. Because that's what I am. That's what I'll always be. Just a handful of nothing worth anything. And I'm too late for Mum to know that I know that she tried. I know she loved me. But maybe she's looking down. And maybe if I reach out my hand to Joseph, maybe she'll know that I've finally worked it out. And then I'm there. I'm standing in front of him. And that's the end of the monologues. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
So, just Q&A?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just firstly, just want to acknowledge this country, this beautiful country here. Pay my respects to Boonwurrung country, Woiwurrung country of the Kulin Nation, and want to pay my respects to any elders here today and any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and the wider community. Thank you. Yeah, so we're going to have question and answer, apparently.
Apparently.
So yeah, any questions? Do you want to come up, Jane, or I don't know? Okay. Well, we just read a lot of amazing playwrights. You know, it's monologues, and I guess I feel like black theatre has come a long way in the last couple of decades. I think it's incredible, and I just want to say thank you to Jane Harrison for organising and curating this amazing festival. And everyone involved, all the team, because it is so important to showcase black writers. It's interesting because we've got all these new terms. You know, when I speak to my grandmother, she just says, "Oh, we're just blackfellas. We don't use First Nations," but they're the terms we're using to represent a collective cultures that are still very much alive and present to this day. So yeah, it is very important to have a festival like this, because for so long, it's been like really hard for our stories to get to the door and for us to have control over our own narratives. And yeah, I feel very privileged to be up here and to be reading these monologues that represent such a wide diversity of our stories, from humour, resilience, pain and untold truths. So yeah. So does anyone have any questions about anything?
Any questions? Any whatsoever?
Any writers that you have heard or haven't heard at all? Anyone?
Did you have close engagement with the playwrights when you were rehearsing?
No, actually. No. Yeah, we did a little Zoom rehearsal one time with the beautiful Jane Harrison, and yeah, we did Thursday's session, but other than that, we haven't really. I got the privilege a couple of years ago to work on Conversations with the Dead with Il Bidri, also written by Uncle Richard Franklin, and it tackled the same themes of black deaths in custody. So I got a little insight into, you know, from Uncle Richard's mouth. I got it all, and you know, it's very heavy to pick it up and, you know, pick it up and read it again and really feel that. And, you know, you can, when I read Walking into the Bigness, I could really picture his face still, even telling the whole mob of us that work together on convos. But yeah, other than that, we haven't, no.
But Dogged, Andrea James just had like a sold-out season last year. I don't know, in Sydney, I think it was, which theatre company? Which theatre was it at? Belvoir? Griffin, yeah. So that story, so Dogged, Andrea James being proud Yorta Yorta Gunai woman, yeah, is, you know, inspired by Gunai country, which is my country on my father's side. And it really brought to light, you know, the issues that our dingoes are facing as well, in terms of like being endangered and at times on the brink of extinction, I feel. Yeah, and so I feel like that play will need to definitely tour down home to Gunai country. You know, during lockdown, I remember walking through Loch Sport, and I saw there was a big sign. There was like Australian flags everywhere. There was a big sign out the front of this house, Aussie flag, and all these funny things. And it was like dingo traps, like we want dingo traps. And it was like, call here. And something about it just like made the hair stick up on my back. I was like, nah, this doesn't feel right, you know. Why do people want to cull our native animals, you know? We're just trying to grip onto what's left and protect what we have and what we can. So yeah, I'm excited for that play to definitely come down, hopefully, down to Gippsland.
Thank you both for very wonderful monologues. And I just want to say how privileged we have been here in Melbourne to have such a variety of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander plays. And with Il Bidri starting, 30 years already, and they're going on to bigger and better things. And everybody, that you've been reading today, plus all the others who are also writing, that it's just absolutely fantastic. And I love live theatre, and so I've been seeing a lot of these. Marianne Sam, who's in the house tonight, who plays, and James as well. It's fantastic. So thank you very much for all the playwrights, and to you two for highlighting some of those monologues. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a wrap. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful rest of the festival. I think there's some stuff on tonight, so check out the program, Black and Bright. And tomorrow. All day. And yeah. See you later.
Thank you.